Aviation Finance 101. How planes get financed and why it matters when you watch a plane take off. You're seeing engineering, logistics, and finance working in sync. Aviation finance is the capital engine behind global air travel. It funds new aircraft, keeps fleets young and efficient, and helps airlines match capacity to demand. Today, I'll explain what aviation finance is, why the current market is so interesting, how the main structures work, and what risks and safeguards investors consider. What is aviation finance? At its core, aviation finance provides capital, debt and equity to acquire and lease commercial aircraft and engines to airlines. More than half of the world's fleet is now leased, a dramatic rise from about 10% in the 1970s. Leasing frees up cash, reduces balance sheet leverage for airlines, and offers flexibility to scale fleets up or down. For investors, aircraft are long-lived, mobile assets with contractually defined cash flows. Demand for air travel has proven resilient through shocks. By late 2024, passenger traffic, RPKs, reached new highs, and load factors were at or near records. Why is aviation finance compelling right now? Two forces are shaping today's opportunity: strong demand versus constrained supply. Travel demand has surpassed 2019 levels in most regions, yet the industry still faces production bottlenecks, labor shortages, and engine maintenance issues that limit the pace of new deliveries. This imbalance is expected to persist for years. A structural aircraft shortfall. Based on announced retirements and deliveries, analysts estimate the global passenger fleet could be short by roughly 3,000 aircraft within a few years, a gap that supports higher lease rates and strong placement for in-demand models. These constraints show up in pricing. Market lease rates have exceeded 2019 levels across many narrow-body and wide-body types, reflecting scarce capacity and robust utilization. At the same time, financing needs are large and persistent. The new delivery pipeline for 2025 to 2028 is projected to require $500 billion plus of funding, about $130 billion per year, with lessors continuing to finance a sizable share. Capital sources are also evolving. Traditional banks have retrenched in places due to regulatory and strategic shifts, while alternative lenders and capital markets are stepping in. The aircraft ABS market, for example, reopened meaningfully in 2024 and is expected to keep recovering. How do the main structures work? You'll encounter three building blocks. Operating lease, the workhorse. An investor, lessor, owns the aircraft and leases it to an airline on a triple net, hell or high water basis. The airline pays rent and is responsible for insurance and maintenance. The lessor earns rent and ultimately re-leases or sells the plane. Terms are typically 8 to 12 years for new deliveries, and 4 to 8 years on subsequent leases. Finance lease, sale-leaseback. The airline sells a new or used aircraft to a lessor and leases it back, converting CapEx into predictable OpEx while keeping the asset in its fleet. Over time, the airline may acquire title, finance lease, or simply return the asset, operating lease. Debt and securitization. Senior secured loans to airlines or lessors are collateralized by aircraft and leases. In the capital markets, structures like EETCs and aircraft ABS tranche cash flows by priority of payment to match different investor risk, return preferences. Behind the scenes, legal frameworks, including the Cape Town Convention in many jurisdictions, support repossession and remarketing in a default, which is one reason aircraft-backed debt has historically shown strong recoveries. Where do returns come from, and how does risk vary? Think of a risk-return spectrum. Senior secured lending targets investment-grade profiles with contracted cash coupons and first-priority claims on cash flows and collateral. Expected returns are lower than equity but aim for capital preservation. Mezzanine, subordinated debt increases yield and risk with lower priority in the structure. Equity leasing captures fixed lease income plus residual value at sale or release. Returns are higher but depend on asset selection, credit quality, and timing. Because cash flows are contractual and assets are mobile, aviation exposure has historically shown low correlation to traditional public equities and even to some credit indices, useful for portfolio diversification when carefully constructed. Key risks, and how professionals manage them. Cycle and macro risks. Recessions, fuel prices, or FX can stress airlines. Mitigants include rigorous credit underwriting, diversified lessee exposure, staggered lease maturities, and focus on liquid aircraft families. Supply chain and technical risks. Delivery delays and engine shop constraints can affect availability and downtime. Lease terms, maintenance reserves, and careful asset-engine variant selection help manage this. Refinancing and market liquidity risks. Access to funding can tighten. Diversified financing channels, banks, private credit, ABS, EETC, and conservative leverage are essential. ESG and sustainability. The path to net zero relies heavily on sustainable aviation fuel and efficiency gains. Investors increasingly integrate ESG due diligence, fleet age, fuel burn, governance, and disclosure into underwriting. Aviation finance is where real assets, contract cash flows, and global demand meet. With robust travel demand, constrained aircraft supply, and large funding needs, professionals see a deep, evolving opportunity set, spanning senior debt, structured credit, and leasing. For institutions, it can offer collateral-backed, cash-flowing exposure with potential diversification benefits, provided you partner with teams that are disciplined on credit, selective on assets, and rigorous on structure.